Well, we just had another blade break, and that's the problem with this little unit is it's such a tight radius. It just work hardens the blades, and they don't. I've never had one go dull. They all just break before they wear out. So I don't even put lubrication on it anymore. So it's just not worth it. That screw I gave you. Oops.
Right now we're going to just drill a weep hole. It's just so that the any condensation or anything that gets inside the steel will have a place to escape.
It doesn't have to be this big. This is a 1-inch hole saw, but that happens to be the hole saw that's on there, so that's what I'm going to use. I've never tried one of these stepper bits on anything this thick before. I don't really think it's made for it, but we'll see what happens. It didn't do that hole too bad, but I'm not sure how many holes it do. No way to sharpen it. This is a 3/4 inch hole. I wish I could make this drill press a little slower.
Well, we got a coat of paint on our stand here. Now we're ready to put our bender together. Well, we got our bender all assembled and put on the stand here. And the next step is we're going to remove this manual arm.
Because it's mounted on wheels, so obviously we weren't gonna bend nothing like that.
Right.
But we wanted to assemble it first and just kind of make sure it's all the way it's supposed to before we worried about putting the air-over hydraulic kit on it.
Well, we got this on here, but the instructions were a little on the vague side. But we got it figured out. But we do have one problem with our stand. This the ram uses a different mounting point. This is where it used to mount. And because of that, we end up with just one nut and bolt going through the mounting flange on our stand. And this one here does not connect to the stand at all, so we're going to have to change it a little bit. We really don't like the way this has so much weight hanging out over the stand here. You can see it's real close to the wheel down on the bottom, and it makes it easy to tip.
Not so much so now that it's balanced out with the weight of this on there.
Yeah, the weight of the ram helps some.
It really kind of equalizes it now. But what we had discussed before we put the jack on was making a different plate goes on here that has different mounting holes, and it just kind of shifts it one way or the other. We were thinking of going this way. I think we'll probably will end up doing that. That way there we could reclaim two holes to mount it to the stand as opposed to just having it on one as it is now. Alright, so we finally have this thing put together the way it's supposed to. We screwed up, we had this completely flopped around, so when I went to put our pipe in here, the arm wasn't retracting enough to be able to get the pipe in there. But anyway, we got that changed back around, and now we've got this piece of pipe marked up. I've got it marked right here, and this is a hard line that's going to represent where the back of the die is going to go on this pipe. So we also have 1 inch increments set in here. That way there we can tell how many inches it takes to do X amount of bend after it's bent, just as a reference. And we'll keep this piece of pipe around as a template, I guess you could say. But I'm going to line this up so that heavy scribed mark right there is at the very back of the die. There we can see what we're doing in here. Right here you can see the seam. You got that facing up. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. Seam's facing up. And our mark is right there. I'll take my adjustable, get this snug. Not too snug, but snug so I'm not going to move. Then you got a little bit of slop there. Got to push it all the way so it bottoms out on this pin. And then we'll set our degree marker, which I already did. So here's. As this thing bends, every 10 degrees, I'm going to put a mark at the back of the follower. I guess I might as well just put a mark there in the very beginning at 0 degrees. But that way there, I'll be able to relate this degree line with the inches. So say if I want to make a 60-degree bend, I can just count off the degrees and say, okay, so that's going to take roughly X amount of inches of pipe to make that bend. So it's just kind of a gauge, I guess. So that's 10 degrees. That'll be our first mark. Degrees. So our little retention pin here just dropped into the first hole. So that means now we're going to take this pressure off this a little bit, take this pin out and readjust to the next pin. And this should hold it at the degree it's at already. Alright, now we're ready to continue. Just go 92. And then check it, I guess, huh?
Yep.
That does not look like a 90 to me. Now, oddly enough, this stand with this piece of pine put on it, the protractor reads this as actually 0. So we're going to set this up here. And we're going to put this up here and see what it tells us. That looks like it's about 5 degrees off, doesn't it?
Yep, right on 5 degrees.
Alright, so we'll put it in there and we'll bend it another. Alright, now we brought this to what, 92 before we released it, so I guess we'll go back to 92 and then we'll add 5 more. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't look like it's changed to me. Well, but that's reading.
Ground 0. That should be 90 degrees.
Cool.